Sunderland 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 in the least surprising result of all time. That confirms it if you didn't already know. We are by far and away the worst team in the division, and it's not even close. It's just so disappointing to see the demise of this football club over the last few years. Kind of since lockdown, since Nuno leaving. I mean, from that kind of point onwards, it's just been a steady decline, year in, year out, the same cycle. Bringing a new manager, goes to shit at the start of the season, sack the manager, bring a new manager in just before Christmas, spend 50 to 100 million in January, stay up by the skin of your teeth, rinse and repeat, and it's so tiresome. It's so draining. I feel for you lot who bought a season ticket this year. I feel for you lot who travel home and away, and all credit to you, but I just could not. Past couple of years, I haven't put myself through that, and I'm extremely glad that I didn't, because it is the most painful experience watching us. It is so poor. It's just piss poor every week. The international break, I enjoy international breaks now because of how shit we are. I get the break from watching us, and it's just you can enjoy your weekend, you know. I'm not even sad. I'm not disappointed. I've accepted it. I've internalised it, and it's like, this is just the way it is, and this is the way it will be for the rest of the season. Because even if Pereira does go, whether it be tonight, whether it be 3 weeks down the line, it doesn't matter, because Fosun will not spend on a new manager. They won't spend to bring a new manager in. They won't spend a lot of money anyway. It will be hopeless. We're a lost cause at this rate. I mean, we were so bang average during that game. Even when we looked like we were promising going forward, even then, the end of the passage of play would end in arguably the worst shot you could ever see from any footballer ever. Combination of Gomez had chances, Andre from outside the area just blazing it straight over. I think we've had one shot on target, and it was Menetti's kind of hook volley. That was a good effort, but we've just got dread. This is what happens when you trust a manager who's never been in a role longer than 18 months, with your entire transfer budget, with entire sporting decisions, with his mate upstairs who doesn't have a clue in Tetty. And he's brought in a load of physical players who are still getting bullied off the ball, by the way, who are bang average footballers. We have a team of bang average footballers, and it shows. Sunderland are light years ahead of us. I went into the game, we've been better past couple of weeks, but I didn't think we were going to win by any means. I thought a good performance would get us a draw at best. Bad performance, you lose. And the own goal at the end just epitomised everything. It demonstrated how poor we have been. It's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking to see how far we've fallen and how quickly we've fallen. I say it was a steady decline, but everyone saw it coming, because us Wolves fans know more than most. Under these owners, we're going absolutely nowhere. Well, I say we're going nowhere. We're going straight down. That's exactly where we're going. We're going straight down, and we're going to rot in the Championship for a long time unless new owners come in. I'm struggling for words, to be honest, guys. I really am, because it's just it is just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I pass care. I convince myself that I don't care. It's fine. I do care. This is my football club. I've been watching these lot. I was a season ticket holder since I was 6, and I only gave it up 2 years ago. But it's what I used to look forward to every weekend. And now it's just, I'm 23 now, and it's like, fucking hell, we're just terrible. But on to the next one, I guess. Burnley next, who won today. No easy feat, but we'll see where it goes. See you next time.
Right, Sunderland 2, Wolves 0. Same old story, innit? Wolves are really lacklustre, didn't really pose any type of threat going forward. I'm not sure hoofing the ball at Strand Larsen, hoping he wins a header is really what you call a strategy or a way of playing. I'm not really sure what we were trying to do. I was a bit more hopeful because obviously we were good against Brighton. And Obviously better against Everton, and obviously the last couple of games have actually had some decent performances against Spurs as well. But today, just back to normal really. And obviously the second goal for them, it's absolutely comical, isn't it? But like, kind of just shows the way it's going for us. But I think we've got to be more competitive and show more fight in those type of games, because today we just breezed aside. Sunderland didn't even have to play well, and that's the story of the season so far. A lot of teams don't have to play well to beat us. Sunderland were average today, and they kind of just swept us aside. And it's just, again, it is the same old story. Like, yeah, I don't know where the next points are coming from, because these are the games we've got to be getting something from. So I mean, we're the only club in the Premier League that would give our manager a new 3-year deal when we haven't won in like 8 games or something like that when we did it, and now obviously it's extended. I'm not sure what type of system we're trying to play. I think he doesn't even know his best team still. But I think it starts from the top. It's the owners again, a poor window. We got some players in, of course. We got some players in positions, but a lot of them, they're not good enough, not the same quality, and that's what's happened. Is the natural trajectory of the way we're going has obviously been going downwards every season. So I don't want to be too negative, but I'm being realistic and thinking that, like, after today, where's the next win coming from?
So it's finished Sunderland 2, Wolves 0 at the Stadium of Light today. An embarrassing display, or one of which should have big ramifications, but I doubt it will. Manager needs to go. Half of the squad I don't want to see here in the Championship next season, because that's where Wolves are heading. It is possibly the biggest assortment of players I've ever seen, with such little attacking quality and talent between them. All spearheaded by a manager who is allergic to taking a gamble and a risk now. The way he waited until 76 minutes, when I watched the worst 76 minutes of Wolves I've seen this season, I think, and there is a lot of competition for that, but they were absolutely awful going forward for 100% of that game. They were shocking. They were absolutely shocking, Wolves there. Deserved nothing from the game. Credit to Sunderland, came in, absolutely battered them. From players that know what they're doing, to a system and a manager that looks compact and looks like it knows what's happening. Long throws, balls into the box, looking dangerous constantly and compact at the back. Wolves are none of that. Wolves are absolutely none of that. And Wolves are sleepwalking. They're not even sleepwalking. They are in a full nosedive towards the Championship now at this stage. And to be honest, it's not really a massive shock when you look at what the summer transfer dealings were. Losing Nelson Semedo, losing Mateus Cunha, losing Pedro Neto the year before, losing Raul Jimenez, Pablo Sarabia, Ruben Neves, all of the players, the mismanagement, Ryan Aït-Nouri in the summer, who I'd argue was one of Wolves' best attacking players last season, going, not replacing him. Hugo Bueno, who was deemed not good enough by Gary O'Neill, playing every match. Shocking today. Last delivery there for the corner where Sunderland scored, the second on the break from him. Didn't get a delivery right all day. An embarrassment. Matt Doherty, as much as I love him, played for Wolves for years, playing at right back. Matt Doherty should not be playing at right back for Wolves in a back four in 2025. What is going on? Seriously. Jackson T'Challa on the bench. Keanu Hoover, I frankly forgot existed. Favourite coming on ahead of him. John Arias is not a good footballer, I'm afraid to say. It's not good. He's not good. Wolves' performance today, for that first goal, switching off totally. João Gomez, I would say probably, for my money, the worst game I've seen him have for Wolves today. And that's not a hot-headed reaction or after the game. That is me being, like, taking emotions out of this, because they're obviously high at the minute. João Gomez and Andre today, inexplicably bad, the two of them. They couldn't pass wind in the middle of the midfield. Sunderland absolutely were on them. They battered them, and they knew what they were doing. And Wolves didn't have any answer for it. They deserved to lose that game. It was a shit game. It was an awful match, which Sunderland just had the lead early and then managed to hold it off and then get their second on the break at the end. And happy days for them. They're a much better team than Wolves. It's really quite embarrassing. I think they're 12 points ahead of Wolves now. Like, come on, it's an actual disgrace how badly this has been managed. Changes are needed all across the board to have any hope, but like I said, I don't think 500 million and Pep in January will keep this team up now. It needs so much more. It needs quality. Why is Tolu not playing? Why is Fer Lopez not playing? Pereira? I mean, people are trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. They gave you a 3-year deal the other week and you're throwing it back in their faces. Like, I can't understand it. I honestly can't. And yeah, An awful performance. For my money, the worst of the season. In a match of which Wolves needed to get 4 from 6, you'd imagine, from these two games. They now can't get that. They've now got to beat Burnley next weekend. But frankly, at this stage, I don't think anyone cares, because I think Wolves are ending up in the same place regardless. Burnley beating Leeds today, so that leaves Wolves bottom of the league with 2 points, only side without a win, 5 adrift of safety in Burnley now ahead of next week. And when they lose to Burnley, they might finally figure out that something is going dramatically wrong next week, because this is going to be a rough season and I am sick of it already, and it's not even Halloween. This is worse than the first 9 games last season under Gary O'Neill, and I really hated that so much, because last season at least we were attacking, we were scoring goals, we were just conceding from set pieces all the time. At least you knew something might happen. Like, we won 4-1 at Fulham and you saw things that you liked. We scored goals, we were attacking, we were open. This is worse than anything I've seen from Wolves in the Premier League so far. And for my money now, manager is on borrowed time. He did really well last season, full credit to him. But he got his man in, he got his signings in. Yes, Wolves didn't even have a positive net spend again, which I will continue to allude to, because it's all about investment at the end of the day. But losing your best players and replacing them with what they have replaced them with, and he spent 20 million on Fer Lopez and Tolu, and he's given them 14 minutes at the end, when the attack for 75 minutes was completely redundant. That was an embarrassing display by Wolves, and they're only going one place, and I feel it's going to be a long rest of the season for us fans, because we don't deserve that. We do not deserve this, because what is being served up now is beyond unacceptable. Sunderland 2, Wolves 0.
Wolves 0, Sunderland 2. And I don't even know what to talk about, how to talk about what we just saw. This team is just a ball of nothing at the moment. There's not a single strand I feel like we can hold on to right now, like a lifeline to take away any sort of positives from that match, really from the season as a whole so far. Vitor, what's the plan? What is the style of play? What's the system? I have no idea. That was just such a nothing sort of game. Terrible first half. Played that first half. Honestly, if you had shown me that game and I had no context for what point in the season or anything like that it was played at, I would assume that Wolves were on 45 points and we're in April, May, and they're on the beach, because it felt like a team that was on the beach and just kind of was going through the motions. Second half, I suppose, an improvement, but it created some chances. There was a stat on the broadcast about, I think we had 15 touches in the box as opposed to 2 for Sunderland at some point in the second half, before Krejci's own goal. But any clear-cut chances? No. Couple of maybe half chances. Zhao, who was awful today, and I'm a huge Zhao Gomez fan. I think he's been one of the few bright spots this season, but his passing, his I hesitate to even call them shots on goal, his attempts were awful. He was a total liability out there, especially in possession, with his decision making, and I think that's one of the more worrying signs, because he's the type, he clearly loves Wolverhampton based off these last few seasons and what he said and the way he plays. So I don't think it's a lack of desire or intensity on his end. I think it's just he looks lost, as does the rest of the team. I don't think that there's any established patterns of play that we have to both create chances, and when a team kind of goes on top, like Sunderland did after the first 7 or 8 minutes, when they had that series of, how many long throws in a row was that? 6, 7 long throws in the space of 10 minutes or so. And we have no way of kind of stemming that bleeding, of, staunching that bleeding. So, yeah, like I said, I kind of am struggling to even think of things to talk about, because it was just, was there even a 7 out of 10 performance from anyone on Wolves. I mean, Krejci was one of our better players, and he scores that. It's an unfortunate own goal. He gets his feet kind of caught up underneath him and misjudges it, but at that point, I'm not going to hold that too far against him. I thought him and Santi did as well as they could have, reasonably be expected to, when the midfield kind of feels like nothing. And I've actually thought Munetsi was one of our better players today, but the reality is like I've said before, he offers you nothing in possession. So if one of Andre or João Gomez have an off day like João did today, and Andre wasn't great either, you're going to be totally overrun in midfield. And then when we do go on top in terms of possession in the second half, we're waiting on luck, on the ball to fall our way, which it's generally not going to when you're playing a team in Sunderland, playing at home in a great atmosphere, which we did quiet down at some point, but still playing at the Stadium of Light. And are playing with this intensity where they're winning every second ball. They're winning every duel. And then I do want to mention Strand Larson, because I know there's been obviously a lot of talk about him this season with the Newcastle links, with his frustrations after the last match, and him kind of being pegged as the star of this team, which I think is a little bit of the media maybe not having watched all of Wolves' games last season. He's good. His goal return based on his performances was pretty insane. He was the most efficient striker, I think, by far in terms of turning shots into goals. Today, he was terrible. I mean, I looked at some point, and I know he's isolated, but I looked at some point, he had 2 touches. This is around 35 minutes because I was curious. He'd had 2 touches. He had 3 duels, was 0 for 3. He'd had 3 aerial duels, was 0 for 3, and he'd committed 3 fouls. Almost impossible to do. So he didn't have a single positive contribution through 35 minutes. And then in the second half, when we had the majority of the ball and he did drop deep a couple times, he's just not... It's not like he's opening up the field for other players. And we have there's nothing to bring it off the bench. You have Chichua coming on at right wing. Did anyone think he was going to score when he went through? I certainly didn't. I mean, the finish was even worse than I could have imagined, but I'm hard-pressed to be too hard on the guy because he's a right back playing at right wing because we don't have anyone. And Vitor waits till the 75th minute to make any subs. It's just, I know I'm just venting, but I feel like that's kind of what these videos have become. It's just an opportunity to get this all off my chest and try to not let it ruin the rest of my weekend, which it won't. But God, Wolves, I can't think of anything positive to say right now at all. I mean, we were totally outclassed today by a good but promoted, should be near the bottom of the table Sunderland team. With all due respect to Sunderland, they're just a better team. They play harder. They have some identity, and their goal came off a give and go at the edge of the box. They're making runs. There's so many times today where we had the ball in the second half, and I just see a line of 5 Wolves players standing on the edge of Sunderland's box, and the only one who ever tried to really do anything would be Munetsi, trying to drop a bit deeper and link up, and then Rodrigo, who didn't have a great game, but at least he's trying stuff. At least he's trying to get on the ball and run at people. So it's on to Burnley, but at this point, I mean, how they just signed Vitor to this extension, so you figure he's going to get at least until the January transfer window. I don't know. We've been in this position before and gotten out of it. I guess that's the one kind of silver lining to all this, but oh boy.
Sunderland 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. That first 45 minutes of football was one of the worst I've seen in quite a long time. I thought in the second half we were a bit better, but really it all comes down to our inability to create anything of meaning in the final third. We don't offer any threat. And I think when we do offer threat, we panic because the confidence is so low. Chances from João Gomez where, he got himself in a bit of space and he just drags it wide. I think he had another one in the first half as well that wasn't very good. Chachua threw on goal. Bear in mind, he's a right back as well. He's a right back that's basically playing in the role that Pedro Neto would have played for us. And he comes on and he's through on goal and he just scuffs his shot. If we score those, then, we win or we come away with a point. But we don't, because the chances are so few and far between. So I think the first goal that Sunderland scored was a really nice goal. It was a 1-2 that split Manetzi and Doherty, I think, are the two that were caught out by it. And it made me think that, I can't remember the last time that we scored a 1-2 with a nice finish. We don't really tend to do that. If you look at Jørgen Strand-Larsen's highlight reel from last season, it's scrappy goals that he's creating himself, or, it's a good header, but it's a good header after 20 different crosses. I thought the crosses today were probably the main issue, coupled with the set pieces, because, the ball would come in, we'd want to try like a near post header and we wouldn't beat the first man, and then we'd try and make it go deep and it'd go really, really deep and it'd go past everybody, and, suddenly Sunderland are on the break. I think that happened with the own goal with Krejci. I think Bueno tried to go for a deep corner and it didn't come off, and suddenly we're 2-0 down. I think ultimately this is on Vitor Pereira, because he is choosing these players, he signed these players, it's his backroom staff, and ultimately we have no wins because of it. So I think really he needs to be winning at Burnley, and I don't even think a non-convincing win would win back the fans. Like, he needs to dominate and get 3 points in a convincing fashion next weekend. Otherwise, I think he'd be gone.